Now it's time to actually add the user interface objects to the view. As you can see, there is currently a title in the document outline. I'll fix that soon. Titles are pretty handy because in a more complex application, titles can help you find the particular view controller you're looking for. I'll start by selecting an image view from the objects library in the utility area. I'll drag the image view onto the view and center it. As you can see, when I do that, it adds a constraint that you can see in the document outline. This describes how this view should look when the device is rotated, and I'll show you how to add constraints later in this tutorial. The next thing I'll do is use the Attributes Inspector to add an image to the image view. All I need to do is use the menu in the image field, scroll down, and select the image I want in the image view. In this case, USA_iPhone.png. Now that I have the background image, I'll add a button by dragging one in. I know that's a very boring button, but I'll fix that in a second. To start, I'll change the text displayed in the button. In the Attributes Inspector, I'll select that text and enter test drive. I have to press Return to update the button. Above that, you see a field labeled Text with a value plain. You can also use attributed text, but I won't be doing that in this course. Next, with the button selected, I'll use the Size Inspector to set the height and width. I could drag using the image view's resize handles if I wanted to, but I find it easier and obviously more precise to use the Size Inspector. I'll make the width 96 and leave the height at 44. I'll go back to the Attributes Inspector to add a background image to the button to make it look more interesting. I'll select Custom View for the type and button.png from the menu in the background field. You'll also notice an image field as well. While choosing background simply adds a background image, leaving the text visible, adding an image would replace the default image and the text. You'd use this if you had a button image that already had the text you wanted in it. I'm also going to select horizontal centering container and also vertical centering container using the align control. That will make the button stay centered when I rotate the device. As you can see, when I do that, Interface Builder adds a constraint that you can see in the document outline. Next, I'll use the media library and drag in the car image, and then select it and position it where I want. Since it is already the size I want, it is easier to do it this way, and Interface Builder will place it in an image view for me. I could have also simply dragged in an image view of any size, added the car image, and then in the Editor menu, select Size to Fit Contents. I didn't do it that way for the background image because it was much bigger than I wanted, and I would have had to go back and resize it. Dragging in an image view first and then sizing it and then adding the image was just easier. Using the Align control, I'll choose Horizontal Center in Container, and I'm also going to use the Pin control and choose Pin Space to Superview. This will always keep it pinned to the bottom of the superview no matter what the orientation of the device. This is actually the default, but I wanted to show you a little more about constraints and auto layout. And now when I compile it, you can see what I have. I can even rotate the phone and everything stays where it should be. Going back to the view controller, I'm going to use the Attributes Inspector and change the title to Test Drive. You can see it changes in the document outline, and in a more complex project, it makes it easier to find the view controller you are interested in. Finally, I'm going to use the Identity Inspector to give it a storyboard ID. You won't need to use a storyboard ID here, but you will need it if you want to load view controllers from the storyboard. And it's a good idea to do it for all your view controller scenes. The restoration ID is used when you want iOS to restore the user to where he or she was in your app if it was terminated. As a matter of course, I always check Use Storyboard here so I don't have to think about it later. For this app, it won't matter because there's only one view. You also see a class field in the Identity Inspector. Here it is TD View Controller, which corresponds to the class in your application where you'll add your code.